preparing to be owned, but
Hello YouTube, this is Mostly Harmless. This is another Men of War Assault Squad Shoutcast. This is a 1 versus 1 frontlines matchup. As I said in my last video, I have a friend who's just started Men of War, so this is with him. As a result, it's not going to be the most professional of matchups. I'm warning you that now. I've been playing for a couple of months and he's been playing for a couple of weeks now, so don't be expecting you know, ranked 800 play here, but certainly you don't get this matchup very often. I've never seen in the games list this map be put up,
so
and
you're
we thought
coming
it might
from
be
which
a
side,
bit of
though?
fun to sort of test
thinking
out
about the
each
top
other
map.
against each other. So I'm starting as the Commonwealth. I think he's German on this matchup. I start with 2 assault squads and I go for, I think it's 1 or 2 25-pounders in a second. I really like the 25-pounder because you do need a little bit of artillery at the beginning. The 25-pounder has incredibly powerful shells. I think it's probably unmatched by the other factions, and quite like the Bren carrier as well, just a good all-round matchup. Never too sure exactly what tanks I should go for as the Commonwealth, because they all vary quite a lot. I quite like the Cromwell. The gun on it's pretty good, but it's got terrible armour, and I mean, you've got sort of the black and white of the Churchill with very good frontal armour, can just sit there taking pounding after pounding, but of course the 6-pounder on the front is crap, and then you've got the 17-pounder on the Firefly to counter it. So what I ended up doing was I thought, well, okay, I'll combine both with both. So I pushed forward. The plan was with the Churchill, and then I'd keep the Firefly in the back, and every now and again when I did see a tank, I'd bring the Firefly in, take a couple of shots, hopefully take the tank out, and then fall back with the Firefly, leaving the Churchill in the front lines for focus of the enemy. I've gone for just 2 assault squads and a set of conscripts to draw fire so that I know what to target for the artillery. I was there thinking whether it was whether I needed a light vehicle or something else. I've never used the Dodgers very much. I think they're a little bit too open plan. Having said that, if you can set up an ambush with that AT Dodge, I've seen it used to great success before. I've just never had the opportunity to do so. And this map, as I found later on, is incredibly open plan. So I don't think. So I'm quite glad in retrospect that I didn't get that, because I knew it would just get shot up. So I didn't get a full complement of troops straight off the bat, because I didn't know what I was going to be facing on. Of course, Andy being a new player, I wasn't too sure what sort of tactic he was going to get. It's almost sort of sometimes more difficult facing new players, because they're not used to the games, they don't know the meta game quite as well as some of the more experienced players, and so they can surprise you quite often with tactics that you might not have thought of. So I thought I'd just go with a half ability group of people and make it up as I go along. And so I saw that he'd clumped all of his infantry up in these foxholes, and so in came the obligatory barrage. In retrospect, I think I probably should have got another 25-pounder just in case.
You're a bastard.
I still had tons of points, and so yeah, I should have just gone with that. I should add that I'm talking to him on Ventrilo at the same time, and I wanted to record that as well, but for some reason Ventrilo doesn't record my voice. I have yet to sort that out. I know you can do it, because I know a few other shoutcasters have their recordings recorded as well, and at some stage I'll get to do that, and I may upload an audio file of just the Ventrilo conversation that I have with him or not. I have yet to decide what to do with that. So here I see a little field gun, a small field gun up there behind those sandbags, and it's not pack 40, so I figured that I might as well just bring up my Churchill to start having a go at that. I didn't want to get it too close, just in case he had any AT troops stationed in those foxholes. But in retrospect, I should have taken it up a little bit further, just so that he could have got the machine gun in a little bit earlier. I neglected to see that heavy machine gun just on the right, in the middle of the screen now, just until it's a bit later in the game. So he definitely took out a fair few of my assault troops, which in respect was a bit of a mistake. I think I thought at the time that what I was shooting at there was doing all the damage to my troops, because the HMG is quite hard to spot just next to that bush. In hindsight, it's 2020, as I have said before. So the plan was, I had sort of told him the basics of this game mode before. Ouch! They didn't ask at all. He's got he's used I think stormtroopers in the foxholes, and I think he continues to use them all throughout the match almost. I don't know whether this is a good thing for him or not. He no doubt has a lot more stopping power, and they'll take out my troops a lot more reliably than otherwise, but I think I get more points for killing them, so I don't know. I don't know if this fits him well or not. I kept my Churchill there for quite a while. I'm sure some people will probably criticise me for doing so. However, there was a logic there. As I said before, I've got the Firefly in the background, and the Churchill can take quite a pounding in its front. So anything that was going to get fielded as an anti-armour unit, I knew was going to get, was going to make itself known, take a few shots at the Churchill, and then I would be able to take him out with the Firefly. More likely than not, I would then be able to take out the repair the Churchill. Instead, I decide that well, I've had enough. I've had enough trying to sort of sneak things up at those trenches, so I wanted to get this Daimler, and I then noticed that he had this flak panzer. Luckily, he missed with his flak panzer. I got him when he was reloading, and I managed to sneak that up there. I didn't entirely destroy it, and then I saw that pack. I tried to run over it, but apparently you can't with that. So I was bricking it a little bit that he was going to run up some men's to take it over, but I thought some of these things had to die. I then see that he said he was annoyed on Vent at the moment because he bought the wrong tank there. I felt a little bit sorry for him because he could have shut down this Daimler rush entirely. As I said, I wanted to get rid of this, but the Daimler doesn't seem to be able to run over, so I resorted to shooting it, which didn't work that time. And I was getting more and more frustrated because it would have been so easy for him to have brought in something to take that out, but I decided to leave it. He might have recrewed it, but I wanted to push on these points because I'm still not taking any of his front points, and I wanted to kill some of the infantry with the Daimler. Moving the tanks up just a little bit there. He's still got his HMG on the right, which I haven't realised. He's got his mortar somewhere. There is in the back there that the Daimler just took a shot at. Quite nice placing of troops, I thought, from Invisible Andy. He's, as I said, he's not played this game. That Daimler was so lucky there to escape that grenade. He's not played this game a hell of a lot, and so spreading his sort of mortar out in the background, hiding that HMG in the right there, that was all quite good. His Pack 40 should have been brought forward a little bit more. It should have been put in that little tank divot meant for keeping tanks hull down in. But on the whole, he's done quite a good job of holding off my advances so far. I made quite a bad use of that 25 pounder. I should have used it a lot more to barrage his front lines a little bit more. But on the whole, I was quite happy because I had managed to sneak that Daimler around. I certainly cost him a good few hundred points taking out the flak panzer and a few of his panzer grenadiers around the back. I don't know whether I've continued to use it to its full killing advantage so far, but certainly he's worried about it and he has to think about it. So I think the 50 cal on the Firefly just penetrated the armoured car there. I did wonder at the time what it was. So all the time that he's thinking about this Daimler sort of moving about his back, he was sort of commenting on this on Vent all the time. He was quite frustrated because he had nothing to do, nothing could kill that with. Any form of armour that he could bring out to take it out, I was just going to sort of pop it off with the Firefly in the background. So he was a little bit frustrated, and indeed this is one of the tactics that I've been completely messed over by in the past with opponents. Getting a Daimler around the back and just sort of taking on people from behind the lines. Certainly, if you've ever played Company of Heroes, that's exactly what the same thing did in that game, and I remember being incredibly frustrated by people by that vehicle in Company of Heroes. I just noticed there that he's lost a couple of his wheels. They're dodgy, so I think I've just sent him to repair, or maybe I'll do that in a second in a safer spot. Regardless, pushing the artillery up and always keeping that Churchill there, sort of in view of the opponent, so he's always worrying about it. I wasn't too worried about him being penetrated, as I've said before, Giggity, because he's got quite tough front armour. So I just wanted him to gradually push forward, and between that and the Daimler, there were two focuses of attention that the opponent would have to deal with, whilst I've got things in reserve, i.e. the Firefly, in order to come up against armoured targets. As you see, I'm floating a ton of points there, but to be honest, I didn't really see anything that I needed to spend money on at this current time. I have seen people just buy like 5 tanks and just rush them up.
You sorry?
I kind of think that's a bit cheesy. Like, I guess it's a valid tactic in all's fair in love and war and all of that crap, but I don't know. If you lose them, they're quite a high points cost to lose. And besides now, I'm attacking at quite some speed. I think he's on the back foot and he's finding it hard, I think, to recapitulate his front line. I did explain to him about clicking the flag and sort of getting more points in the back, and I believe that is indeed what he has done, and he's setting up his back line, but I think I've broken his defences so far, and so I didn't feel it necessary to get any more troops. I am going to do both of the sides of this match in one shoutcast, so it's going to be quite a long one, I think 15 minutes or something like that, but fortunately YouTube has allowed me to upload videos of more than 15 minutes now. I think they did it at the end of my 3rd game, which was quite nice of them. I did almost tell him off for using those Volkssturm there. I don't know why he did. I think he had just run out of points at the end, and he just wanted some rifles, something to spend his last few points on. In my previous video, though, if you watched that, some of my infantry got absolutely chewed up by Volkssturm, so they're not entirely useless, but I guess it's pretty situational. I've got this Daimler back up, and much to his dissatisfaction, I think he made a comment on Ven. He was fairly pissed off that he then had that to worry about as well. In retrospect, oh, there we go, he had a Pack 40 in the background, we were just waiting for it. But again, so these, where I'm typing Z up there, it's because I had to bind a key to Ventrilo, and because I've got a Mac and a Mac keyboard, I bound the tilde key to push to talk. That's just by the Z key. And because I'm an idiot, I keep on pressing that rather than Z, so yeah, sorry about that. Something I was saying and learned from my previous video was that one thing you want to do is distract your opponents with things that you may potentially not care about, that you can then sort of do things, how to say this, do other things that are important with. So for instance, the Churchill was distracting that Panzer IV, which gave the Firefly an opportunity to come up and knock a couple of shots off. Andy was quite pissed off about this, which was exactly what I wanted him to be. It worked perfectly, this sort of tactic of getting the Churchill up there and using that as a forward base of fire, where the Firefly could then sort of zoom in, knock out the tank that was attacking it, and we could all carry on. My forward advance was too fast for the artillery to catch up, which is why it wasn't being used so much in the latter half of this game. Or at least that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And also, I think I've probably left too many infantry behind the forward advance, and they're not being used too efficiently. I tend to find that I split up my infantry squads too much, and so I think this tends to happen in quite a few of my battles, and it really diminishes the force of my infantry, because obviously one rifle is not going to win against 3 rifles that it will be fighting when advancing, and I'm well aware that this is something I need to change. I spent quite a good couple of years playing Company of Heroes, and then stopped playing it. I think I lost the CDs and my hard drive, my computer. I reformatted my hard drive about a year ago and didn't have a backup. It was a mistake formatting it for Windows, ironically, so I could play computer games. And as a result, yeah, I didn't have. I still don't have Company of Heroes installed. I tried to install it on Steam, but with the key, it would just give me the beta key. It pissed me off. Point being is that Company of Heroes, of course, deals in squads, not individual men, so I'm still not too hot on dealing with individual men and the sort of specific infantry micro. I think I'm getting better and better. My grenade play is getting better, I think. I'm getting more used to cooking off grenades so that they don't have the chance to run away from them, but, you know, there's always room for improvement. Not a great deal going on here. This is a very open map, I found. There's not a great deal of clutter here to block sight lines, and to be honest, I have no idea how a good defense in this match would be set up. It's got a few of those sort of divots that some of my men are hiding in there, but they're not particularly sort of low, and the walls aren't particularly low, so they're going to let people sort of see over them. The foxholes there, they're quite good infantry cover, I guess, but there aren't very many of them, and as happened with the first barrage that my artillery let off, it killed quite a few of them in them, and they just tend to seem fairly artillery prone. A couple of those sort of tank divots again for getting them hull down, but they're quite predictable. It means that, you know, it's quite easy to predict where your enemy's tanks are going to be, and so just sort of sneaking a Firefly in and getting them off, getting a couple of shots off into the fog of war will be quite easy, I think. No idea where that P came from. Maybe I bought some AT infantry to sneak up. I can't remember that I did. That's weird. Oh, of course, SAS. Yeah, SAS. Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, it was quite a cool weapon. It's a shame they didn't model it accurately in this game. It was basically a spring-loaded gun. So rather than using ballistic shots, it would fire a shot from a spring that was still powerful enough to penetrate, but didn't cause a cloud of smoke and dust, so it's quite easy to sort of sneaky take out enemy tanks and still maintain the element of surprise with a good weapon. As you just saw, I was talking about when I was probably should have been talking about that tank. The Churchill was parked up just in front of that Pack 40. I think maybe if Andy knew where to target better, and of course that'll just come with time when he's playing, he could have knocked out the turret there, which has slightly shallower armour than the body, but he was parked up just in front of that Pack 40 and he still couldn't penetrate, so it was really easy for him to just sidle up in front of it and take out pack. I guess maybe I should have thought about that a bit better, but still it ended up working. And he was really pissed off that even at that range where Firefly took out his Panzer IV there, he was at a loss to know what to do about that Firefly. And I think in retrospect, had I been in his position, I would be likewise at a complete loss to know what to do. I've no idea why that Churchill's just turned its back on the front line. No idea at all. But I think he's back now. Yes, sir. And yeah, so I guess you see the number of points I should have spent far more than I actually did. But I go by the Tiger Selchu style of play. Not a great deal of things, so you can end up actually sort of microing quite well. You don't have all that much stuff to deal with. Plus, actually, I guess as you can see, I'm sort of CP'd up. Maybe I wasn't as aggressive enough as I could be. I don't know. Anyway, I got the job done. Quite a few points above him. And I'm at his base point. He got a motorbike just because he didn't have any more points to spend. But that brings us pretty close to the end of this half of it. He's just got that field howitzer in the back and this final point to capture. So as I said, I mean, you were never going to see Leet 1337 gameplay in this film. That wasn't what this was about. This was to see what people of my standard generally play like. This was also kind of just for Andy, so that he saw what I was doing at the time against what he was doing. I figured this would probably be fairly useful for him. I hope you find it fairly interesting. I am quite proud of that sort of Churchill advancing followed by the Firefly tactic with the infantry on either side for flanking. I thought that was a fairly good tactic, one that I'll definitely be keeping in the future. And it seemed to work fairly well. Things I could have improved, I don't know. Maybe a flame unit, maybe the Sherman Crocodile, potentially. Is it the Sherman Crocodile from the Commonwealth or the... I don't know what it is. Anyway, the Crocodile, that might have done it. So on to round 2 anyway. The sides change. Yeah, I don't know what I could have done better in that, but to sort of expedite the attack. Maybe a couple of flame units just to flush the people out of the trenches faster. But otherwise, I think it was fairly quick. I know snipers. I think I did get one sniper that was sort of picking people off, but I think I could have got a couple of snipers. Also, maybe utilise the Marines a little bit, the special call-ins. Some guy on my last video did mention that I should have used special units a little bit more, and indeed, probably I could have. So on defence this time, I've got 2 regular infantry squads for the LMG this time, and the rifles. I've gone for the 17-pounder, the mainstay of the British AT effort. I don't think there's any decision that needs to be made about what to get. It's always a 17-pounder, such a good AT gun. And from the previous frontline videos that I've played, I know that it's important to get your individual men set up in the best position for every single one of them. Don't use them as a squad. Don't use them in 3-man groups like you would otherwise in, say, an assault squad. Sorry, an assault point video. Use them out, spread them out, treat them all as individual. They are gold. Not least because you get so few points when you're defending this. I find defense the hardest game mode, I think, in Men of War, defending the front lines, just because you get so few points. You've really got to squeeze the value out of all of your troops, and you do it all against an opponent who gets multiple times the points that you get. So I'm only getting these two, and I'm waiting for that Bedford truck with the defences to be unlocked. It kind of frustrates me the way you have to wait for that, and so you don't get very long to set up your frontline defences, because I tend to find, certainly with my current level of micro, when the battle starts, I don't have time to set up field defences in the back half of the map. So because it's so late in, I set them up at the front, and then I don't really do anything else with them. I was also a little frustrated about the lack of the number of mines that you actually get in the truck. I think more would be useful. I was also really frustrated by the fact that I haven't worked out which way it is, but I think sometimes with the user interface, right-clicking carries out the I think maybe like left-clicking with the things in the panel that I'm using at the moment works, and then right-clicking with the things in the taskbar uses those. But either way, it seems like a really aggravating and kind of user-unfriendly method of user interface. It kind of annoyed me a little bit. And so because the Bedford came in a little late here, my defences aren't nearly set up as much as I would have liked them to have been. As you can see, I didn't stick the AT gun in the tank divot there because, as I said, I thought that was a bit too obvious a place for them to be. I know Andy hasn't played this map, and I think this is probably his first Frontlines game, so he might not have guessed where that tank divot, where my tank might have been. But as I said, I think maybe I said in my previous Shoutcast or not, like, he knows his military theory, and he knows where his town is at, so he probably would have guessed. So I decided to stick the AT gun sort of in the middle there, where it wouldn't be able to be guessed, and stick him behind some sandbags to protect him. A few mines around the front can't hurt. Some tank traps. I think I was sort of waiting for his attack to begin, just making sure that everybody was in their right place and spread out, because I knew that he was going to send an artillery barrage, certainly after the one that I put in the first place. I realised I think at the last minute, a little bit too late, that I should have got a machine gunner in that house building first. That should have been one of the very first things that I should have got. And I think in general, probably spending a little bit more points on machine gunners and dotting them about is probably a good plan as defence. That's certainly going to be something I'll start doing. Things I could have been doing, I think I should have bought a couple of riflemen just to dedicate to moving field defences around. Barbed wire maybe in front of the trenches, that would have been probably a good plan. And AT mines around the outsides. I think they would have been a very good plan, and in the future I think that's certainly what I'm going to be doing. He's done exactly the same trick that I got, sort of stormed a squad of Volksturm up the middle, and in comes the artillery barrage now. Fortunately, it's not doing a great deal of damage. This is, I think, because I spread my guys about quite a lot. One thing, as I said before, you want to treat each individual man as gold dust and spread them around so that the inevitable artillery fire doesn't wipe them all out in one large group. Also, try to move them around so that they're not guessable as to their position. Keep your opponent on the back foot, I suppose, where defense comes in to play. He's using elite troops for his attack, which is probably a good plan. It certainly means that they're standing up very well against my troops, even though they're fortified in these positions. He is using them in big groups, and I think were I to have had maybe I should have bought a mortar when I saw him doing this, but I've always been a little bit cautious of getting a mortar when it comes to defending on front lines, just because any sort of forward push is going to be quite hard to defend against. However, yeah, in retrospect, I certainly should have done this. It was a bit static at the moment, and I hadn't seen a tank from him yet, so I was considering what to do about the sort of lines of troops that were doing quite a good job at taking my infantry out. I decided to get a sniper because that would be a very efficient way of taking out his Panzer Grenadiers. And then I thought, well, I'll do the same thing that I did last time, i.e. do a Daimler rush. I knew he'd got 2 Vespers, and so were this to work, I figured it would be a very, very good investment for me to get them. So straight down the front. This in itself was probably the mistake, and straight away Panzer IV missed the first, gives me some hope. I was so angry that that didn't take out the Vesper. Like, that was at point blank range, and Vesper's armour was shit, so I was pretty angry, but c'est la vie. I would have tried it again, maybe with a Tetrarch, but I didn't have the means to spare. The benefit of that was that I did now know his army composition in terms of tanks. I knew where his tanks were going to come from, so I was comfortable in my 70-pounder choice. Maybe somebody could tell me how my sort of unit choices are, how many people I've bought, etc, etc, etc. Because at the end he does eventually sort of push me back beyond this slight front line, and I run out of troops, run out of points to spend. Yeah, that was a little mistake by him, keeping his Panzer Grenadiers in the half track. I think he was thinking Company of Heroes style, where they will survive magically, but alas, this isn't Company of Heroes for him. So yeah, I'm buying lots of regular infantry squads and sort of keeping the front line full of infantry, keeping him surprised and sort of definitely so that he can't surge forward. But I don't know whether it would be better not to, or to pick different units or something like that. If any comments would be obviously gratefully received. I don't think Andy's used yet to just how good British guns are. Obviously he will be now that he watches this video and sees the range with which they pound tanks, but this again proving just how good the 17-pounder gun is, both on the Firefly and on the gun. But of course, he's got 2 Vespers, so that was only going to be to a certain extent short-lived. Not yet dead, but it seems like he's using his artillery pieces 2 at a time, and so now it is dead. This leaves me rather worried, because I now have nothing to defend against tanks with, and I only have 100 points. I think had Andy actually just straight up gone and bought another couple of... I did have that Firefly in the back, that's a lie. But had he bought, say, 3 tanks, which I've certainly faced in the past, and just charged at me with the German Blitzkrieg style, I would have been completely overrun at this stage. So when I say any help would be appreciated, I mean this is why. Because I really felt a little bit panicked the whole time, because I had no discernible AT. I was disappointed that those 2 got sighted. I had put them on return fire, and I was hoping just to sneak them. They were both AT guys, so I was hoping to sneak them right back and get that Vesper. But along comes that Panzer, puts that idea to sleep. That was me saying shit or something like that. I was quite pissed off. I'm not sure if that is that Firefly on. Yeah, the Firefly is on return fire still. I figured that was probably the best bet. I was panicking when I saw this Puma because I thought he'd do exactly the same thing as what I did to him. I should have had some AT mines down there, but fortunately, didn't know where the Firefly was, and say goodbye to your Puma. Now that you knew where it was, I thought I'd take a couple of shots off at that tank because I knew it wasn't fully destroyed and I didn't know whether he was repairing it or not. And yeah, I knew that he still had 2 artillery pieces, so I thought I'd GTFO out of there. He did congratulate me at the time of predicting that, and I was quite lucky that I did predict that and get out of it, because otherwise that would probably have been 1 dead Firefly in that barrage. Instead, it's not. It lives to survive. I'm still holding on with 100 points. I think he's had a refresh of points, so he's got another load. Bricking it here, properly bricking it there, because had I lost that, he would have just overrun me with tanks. Fortunately, because it's so hull down, it's a really good defensive position. He's only taking out the turret, and bang! So satisfying when you blow a tank up. But he was really frustrated, Andy, at this stage, because you know, he'd been hitting my tank, and he'd had a couple of hits, and a couple of crew injured, and he was sort of frustrated that he'd only been getting that, whereas I shot 1 shot at his Panzer IV and blew the whole thing up. And that was not the first time that I'd done that. I had to sort of convince him that the 70 pound was actually just that good of a gun, and that Men of War actually models tank damage that realistically. If you are only shooting at the turret, then unless you shoot the shell in the gun, and I believe it is that well modelled, then you're not going to do shit to the actual tank. So I've held on for 15 minutes so far. He still hasn't capped these front 2 points, which I was telling him that he probably should be doing round about now. And there you go. He's just got 1 guy in, but he's now dead. That machine gunner was so well placed, and he no doubt shot so much he's run out of ammo. I was kind of pissed off about that, so I tried to tell him to get a different weapon. There, and then had to get the ammo, stuff like that. And, it's good that he did pop out and he saw that tank. Firefly tracked that Panzer IV. Damaged again, crew injured, and he was fuming at this that he couldn't take out this Firefly. Like, I don't know how, say with the Americans, how maybe a Comet in one of these hull down positions here would do the same job, but the Comet has even worse armour than the M4 chassis, and if you've watched my videos before, you know that I hate the M4 chassis. I don't know, I just don't know how you would do this map as any other faction other than perhaps the Germans with sitting a Panther in one of those divots. Japanese, what is it, the Horo? The really big meatly armoured tank destroyer, maybe sitting that in, but I think that's a heavy unit and it costs a ton, so I'm not even sure if you could afford one of those realistically. So yeah, quite an interesting map. I'm quite looking forward to playing a couple more games on it. My sort of practiced infantry micro is paying off a little bit here with my grenading. Unfortunately, he's run out there. But he does have an elevation benefit, and he's firing down the trench, so he should get him. He's come up fighting up against a storm grenadier. It does, yay him. And I thought all of your shit belongs to me. I was kind of hoping he'd have body armor on it, because I know a lot of Panzer Grenadiers too, but that he didn't. So I thought I'd try another one and steal his shit, but again, alas, no. So back to your post. Little careless of him there to leave his half track so open there. Where I can just go boom. Luckily for him, I mean, he's at such a straight on angle that the shell could have gone straight through and taken out all of his Panzer Grenadiers. It was very lucky for him that it didn't. And I hate the way direct control does this with the targeting sometimes. You know, when it doesn't follow quite where your target's pointing and it goes below or above and stuff like that. I really, really hate the way it does that. I've lost so many tanks to that, and I kind of wish that with an HE round it would have just targeted properly there. I then see that, what's that, a Tiger is it? And bricked it because I had HE loaded. So I switched to AP. I did realise that the Panzer Grenadiers were there at the time, but I thought this Tiger has to die. And if I move my Firefly out of there, then he's going to have a nice big shot at the Firefly. So I figured I just had to take that. And in retrospect, what I should have done was just let the AI take that and use my men to shoot down the Panzer Grenadiers, because otherwise, exactly that's going to happen. And that was entirely my fault. I don't know what took out all of those Panzer Grenadiers. Grenade, maybe. Here's where I knew that I'd lost the front line. I've got 3 men left. What is it? Yeah, 3 useful men left, including that sniper, which is quite nice. Managed to keep him alive. He's no doubt taken out more than his fair share of Panzer Grenadiers. He's probably paid for himself many times over. I was quite glad with his purchase. I probably should have got 2, because he wasn't focusing on taking them out. So here I am, falling back to the baseline, and I think in a minute now I click give me more points option.
I was looking at him going,
have I clicked it? Yes. There we go. So many more points for me. So again, same tactic. 2 regular infantry squads separate on the front lines, and I would eventually spread them out. I'm wondering what I should do for AT. I don't see any tank divots, so I go for a 17-pounder again. I decided to put it between those 2 rocks at the beginning because they would protect it against lateral shells as well, whilst the gun would stick out. Don't know where the fuck he's going, running around that thing. I don't seem to remember telling him to do that. Maybe I did with a misclick. But again, spreading all of my troops out. The machine gun in the back there, laying down, suppressing fire. And yeah, I reconsidered sending him not right to the front, where he was incredibly grenade prone. As you see me there, just having a little look at where he would be able to fire. I was worried about that right-hand track, right around the right-hand side of the map, and so in a second I'd move him so that he can get that right-hand track there. Vesper took out my machine gunner for that squad. That pissed me off. Let's say the V, it's a big honking artillery piece of what you're going to do. Decided to build those sandbags there because that right hand, it's a really good place just to sneak around a little tank and sort of come out with a little flanking manoeuvre there. and because currently it's not being very well protected by a 17-pounder. So I thought I needed at least to be wary of any tanks coming round.
Yes, sir.
And keeping guys on like my side of buildings is one of my favourite tactics to do. I like doing it so that when people do run past the building, it just messes them up. And as you see, I set that Bedford to self-destruct just because I knew that I wasn't going to use it anymore. There was no way I was going to devote the micro to using it, and I didn't want him taking things out of it, so I just destroyed it. I also wanted the CP. There we are. I'm glad that I did put some people over there, but I didn't put them behind the sandbag because one of the things that Men of War doesn't do to his detriment is automatically put them behind the sandbags. That frustrated me a little bit. What I wanted to do here with the 17-pounder is, as you can see, just put it on the lip so that AP shells, explosive shells, wouldn't be able to land behind it and decrew it. See how that turns out. And again, I lost my sniper, so I buy another one because he definitely paid for himself before. As you can see, when I went into direct control, he can't depress his gun that far enough to go there, so unfortunately I had to pull him forward a little bit so that he could fire on a level plane. But I figured all in all, it was still quite a good position, because other than those sort of bars just next to it, shells couldn't land to the side of it and kill the guys behind. So all in all, quite a good deal, I thought. Again, he hadn't scouted for his tank. I guess in front lines it's really hard to scout for tanks against field guns. You can't exactly sneak any guys through the lines unless you're really good and they've left a section unaccounted for. But you can't count on that, so you're pretty much, I found, always going to lose your first tank. So often it pays to use a light tank or an armoured car, so that the AT gun, if it's not set to hold fire, automatically goes for that. So here we are, 30 seconds left in the game. As I said, it wasn't a pro level attack at all. It wasn't a pro level defense. That's not to slag off Andy because, as I say, he's been playing for I think 2 weeks. He did put up quite a good go. He put up the right unit choices. The flak panzer at the beginning was an interesting and novel use. I've used flak panzers to quite good effect in the past, so I'll certainly credit him for doing that. I think he could have pushed forward a little bit more heavily. He should have probably brought a mortar, as I should have in the first round, in fact in both of them, but good game to him, and I hope you enjoyed certainly seeing what two medium level players get up to. Thank you for watching.